Foreigners are hating on your martial arts, your student just got kidnapped, and a kung fu master wants to fight. Now you're out of options. You just want to teach your martial arts school and have family time. Let's see if Ip Man can save his student while defending against the foreigners in Ip Man 2. The film begins with a wounded Ip Man and his family escaping Foshan with the help from his friend. Upon moving to Hong Kong, he establishes a martial arts school with the intentions of empowering individuals with self-defense skills. However, more than a week passed and he still finds himself without any students. With rent approaching, their limited finances are directed towards their son's education. As the landlord demands payment, they remain silent behind closed doors, unable to fulfill their financial obligations at the moment. The following day, as he assists his friend in hanging laundry, a stranger arrives seeking the school's master. This individual promptly challenges Ip Man to a sparring match, offering to pay for the school if defeated. Ip Man effortlessly dodges his opponent's strike, asking if he's ready to concede. With a baffled response, the challenger admits his confusion about what's going on. Ip Man swiftly lands a punch, asserting, "Do you understand now?" Following a gentle lecture, Ip Man gains control of the situation. In joking, he inquires about the promised payment, provoking the man's hasty departure in frustration. Subsequently, the man returns with 3 companions to confront Ip Man. Nonchalantly, Ip Man remarks, "No need to remove your jackets." Swiftly dispatching them, he impresses Wang Lung, who pleads to become his disciple. The other 3 also plead to join Ip Man's guidance, as they recognize his superior skills. The next morning, Ip Man commences instructing them in the art of Wing Chun, emphasizing its fusion of defense and offense for swift victory. As they carefully practice, additional individuals arrive seeking to enroll in his school. Welcoming them in, Ip Man continues their training without any delay. During his lunch break, his wife prompts him to collect the school fees, to which he assures her he'll attend to it later. When the class concludes, he requests his payment, but the majority of students are unable to afford it. Nonetheless, he reassures them, saying it's alright and they can pay him whenever they can. Later that evening, he spots his old friend Quan taking a roasted duck from the nearby vendors. Ip Man pays for it with little remaining money he has. His son confides in Ip Man, expressing his father's inability to recognize anyone since being shot in the head by the Japanese. Witnessing his friend in such a pitiful state, it overwhelms Ip Man with guilt, prompting tears and blaming everything on himself. Determined to make amends, he assures his friend's son that they will support Quan together. The following day, Ip Man receives word that one of his students has been abducted and held captive at the fish market, demanding a ransom for his release. Upon reaching the market, he successfully retrieves Lung, but faces aggression from the criminals due to his inability to pay the ransom. Despite being outnumbered, Ip Man effortlessly defends himself against their attacks. As the henchmen resort to weapons and more reinforcements arriving, Ip Man swiftly incapacitates one with his Wing Chun technique, while Lung fends off others by utilizing trays as a makeshift weapon. Ip Man skillfully deflects the knife-wielding attackers using a pallet, pushing them back. Seizing the opportunity, he retrieves a pair of knives and liberates Lung from his bindings. With adversaries closing in, Ip Man instructs Lung to stay by his side. Instead of using the blades to cut, he opts to strike with the blunt side, so he doesn't eliminate any, but just knocks them out temporarily. Suddenly, Jin and his men appear, intervening to help halt the confrontation. Their confrontation is interrupted when Master Hung arrives. He is the leader of these henchmen. Ip Man attempts to explain the situation, but Master Hung remains indifferent, adamant about engaging Ip Man in a duel instead. Before the clash can commence, law enforcement arrives and apprehends Ip Man and his associates. After being bailed out of jail, Ip Man faces Master Hong's challenge to earn the right to officially establish a martial arts school in Hong Kong. The trial demands that he endure until the incense burns out. The first master launches a leaping kick, swiftly countered by Ip Man. Undeterred, the opponent attempts another kick, only to be swiftly knocked down and dispatched. Another master now steps forward, engaging Ip Man with a flurry of hand strikes, each of which Ip Man expertly parries and matches. Seizing the master's kick, Ip Man swiftly brings him down and restrains him. Witnessing Ip Man's prowess, the other masters hesitate to challenge him after his victory over the 2 of their own. Master Hung now stepping forward to face Ip Man himself. Ip Man skillfully deflects his opponent's swift punches and a low drop kick. as Master Hung leaps in with a kick. Ip Man matches his move and retaliates with a barrage of Wing Chun strike, shattering the table in the process. With the match concluded, Master Hung says, "Don't forget to pay your monthly fees." Monthly fees? What is this, Netflix? He says the fees are for his own protection and all the other schools already do it. Following a confrontation between his students and Master Hung's disciples that escalated into a destructive brawl in the town square, Ip Man finds himself deprived of his school as the ensuing chaos wreaks havoc and lays waste to much of the area. Ip Man ends up paying a visit to Master Hung afterwards, expressing his resolve to persist in teaching his students despite losing his school, and urging Hung to cease his harassment of Ip Man's disciples. Hung counters, citing the necessity of adhering to rules and appeasing both foreigners and Chinese. He expresses a desire to resume their duel, but their conversation is interrupted by Hung's family, reminding them of their hunger. The following evening, Ip Man received an invitation to a Western boxing event, where various martial arts schools showcase their skills during the event. Twister, the reigning boxing champion, enters the ring with a dismissive attitude towards Chinese martial artists. He swiftly defeats all opponents, inciting a riot among the spectators. Master Hung and Ip Man step into the ring to restore order. Master Hung demands an apology from Twister for his actions. Nonetheless, Twister refuses and instead challenges Hung to a fight. Without hesitation, Hung accepts the challenge. Hung first delivers a flurry of strikes to Twister, but the boxer appears unfazed, absorbing the blows effortlessly. During the break, Ip Man advises Hung to target Twister's ribs instead of engaging in a direct punching exchange. As the next round begins, Hung adopts a defensive stance, yet he is caught off guard by a devastating knockout punch. Though he manages to rise before the count, Hung confides in Ip Man from his corner, expressing his willingness to coexist with foreigners, but refusing to allow them to tarnish the Chinese martial arts. Despite his determination, Hung succumbs to a relentless barrage of punches, ultimately meeting his own demise. Afterwards, the local Chinese newspaper publishes an article alleging that the Western boxer bullied and incapacitated Chinese competitor during a match. The Chinese-hating superintendent is fierce after he found out, and fearing that it will worsen tensions between the Chinese and foreigners. In retaliation, he imprisons the owner of the newspaper place and inflicts physical harm on him, smashing his hand for publishing such inflammatory news. The following day, during a press conference, the superintendent issues a fake apology to the Chinese community, while Twister boldly issues an open challenge to any Chinese martial artist willing to face him in the ring. Demonstrating further animosity towards the Chinese, he unveils a large incense stick, mocking them, declaring that they have until it burns out to respond to his challenge. In response to Twister's call to battle, Ip Man steps forward to answer the challenge. The night of the fight, already positioned in the ring, Ip Man remains composed as Twister makes his entrance. Round 1 commences, with both fighters cautiously seizing each other up. Twister initiates with powerful haymakers. Ip Man accurately deflects them. However, Twister manages to catch Ip Man off guard, hurling him across the ring and landing a punch that sends Ip Man to the canvas. Despite this setback, Ip Man swiftly regains his footing and withstands a referee's count, responding with a flurry of Wing Chun strikes aimed at Twister's ribs. Ip Man seizes Twister's leg and is able to bring him down. Although Twister quickly recovers, he retaliates, knocking Ip Man down once again. As the next round commences, Ip Man unleashes a flurry of Wing Chun strikes, gaining the upper hand with a powerful uppercut. Despite the bell signaling for the end of the round, Twister cheats, persists in delivering a punch that sends Ip Man to the ground after the bell had rung. In the following round, Ip Man endures a barrage of punches, causing him to fall once more. Refusing to give up, he summons his determination to re-enter the fray. This time, instead of engaging in a direct punching exchange, Ip Man targets Twister's arm, rendering them ineffective. Before throwing Twister to the ground and delivering a series of punches to his face, he is tempted by memories of Twister's ruthless elimination of Master Hung. Ip Man nearly succumbs to the desire to end Twister completely, but manages to restrain himself. Now, Twister fails to rise before the referee's 10 count, resulting in a triumphant eruption of cheers from the crowd. The film ends with Ip Man stating that he didn't engage in a fight to proclaim the superiority of Chinese martial arts over Western boxing. Instead, it was to emphasize that despite our differences in status, we are all equal, and from this moment onward, we should strive to respect one another.